What's up, YouTube? I do actually have one more video for you guys today. However, I'm not going to be smoking in this video because I came up with this idea, kind of sort of an idea, called lighter talk. And the reason why I want to start like a little string of videos labeled lighter talk is to talk about both Zippos, MCOs, even other lighters, maybe like clipper lighters and Bic, though I don't even use Bic, and I don't really even use my clipper lighters that much anymore. However, in this first lighter talk video, I want to discuss steel Zippo lighters, and again, I'm gonna have a, a new folder of videos on my channel labeled lighter talk. However, this is going to be the first one, and again, I'm not going to be smoking in this video because I've already smoked quite a few cigarettes today, so I really need to cut down on the amount of cigarettes I am intaking. However, so basically, for those of you who don't know, there were two times, at least I think, I don't know of any third time where Zippo went to making steel case Zippo lighters, but World War II was the first time. And then a few years, like 2, 3, maybe 3, 4-ish years, during the Korean War, they had steel case Zippos. And the steel case ones from the Korean War, if it's new old stock, it's going to be extremely damn difficult unless you have a magnet to be able to tell. That's why normally with Korean War Zippos, I only get ones that are used, because you can tell once the finish starts wearing off, you can tell which ones are steel and you can tell which ones are brass. However, this is the Korean War steel case Zippo that I have, and again, this isn't actually mine, this is Zippo Fanatic's. Again, I will be sending this off to Zippo Fanatic once he gets his channel back, or what have you. However, the thing with this lighter is, one of these I only paid like $20 for, and the other one I paid basically $200. And those of you who have been watching my channel about lighters and shit know, this is the one I paid $20 for, and this is the one that I paid $200 for, thereabout. And here comes a really loud car. However, the thing with the steel cases from the Korean War versus World War II, again, you're going to pay a lot more for one of these that's a steel case, like this one that I have here, because World War II was much more like widespread war. The Korean War was really more of a sort of a controlled war. It never got to the point where it started World War III with the Soviet Union. If it had, I'm sure that, well, one, we might not even be here today if it had, and number two, there would have been a lot more steel cases, and they would be a lot more infamous if it was a controlled World War III, but it wasn't, again. And the Korean War, to most people, is almost like, kind of like the War of 1812 is kind of forgotten about, so that's why people don't really, like when they see this, they're like, oh, like some people don't even know that Zippo made steel case lighters in the early years of the 1950s, which is true during the Korean War. And that the same thing goes for like Ford Car Company and Chevy and other, like Chrysler and stuff like that. The big three auto manufacturing companies, if you look, at least I know with Ford, I really can't speak on any of the other ones. If you look at a 1951 or 52 Ford, and then you look at a 54 Ford, those were all during the Korean War period. You'll notice that the style of the car, like body shape for like the molds and shit, were basically the same, and they just, changed a little bit of the grille and changed a little bit of the trim on the car and stuff like that. That was due to the Korean War, because there were shortages and stuff like that, and the government during the first stage of the Korean War until I think somewhere in 53 or 54, I think 54 is when they finally went back to brass with the Zippos, sometime during 54, but again, don't quote me on that, because I'd actually have to look up officially to know for sure. But again, this one is indeed a steel case, because you can see all of that beautiful rust on there. Now granted, again, this has been fixed, So it has a new 2018 insert and a 2018 hinge. whoever owned this, I'm guessing, before me, sent it in to get it repaired. I'm guessing the hinge broke or, you know, what have you. And so they were like, well, I'll just send it into Zippo, and they gave them a new hinge and a new insert. So $20 for this though, guys. Even though it has a replaced insert and a replaced hinge, it is still definitely worth the $20. And honestly, guys, this is also worth about what I paid for it. Honestly, it's probably worth just a little bit more than what I paid for it, but again, the person was willing to give me a very good deal on this lighter. But again, this is a much more well-known Zippo and more sought after by collectors, being a steel case and actually from World War II. And again, which you can tell just by the two different steel case lighters, and that has a bunch of ash on it, the difference that they Zippo went under in just a few years after World War II to this, because in 1946 is when they actually came out with this lighter design, which is the same lighter design we have today. However, prior to the end of World War II, again, they were only making these because this style of lighter came out in 1938, I believe. But again, for these, most people know what they have, and you'll be hard pressed to find a really good deal on them, but that doesn't mean you won't ever find a really good deal on them. Because even what I paid for mine was a pretty good price. Now granted, it wasn't like, again, finding it for 30 bucks at a yard sale, or finding it for $5 at a yard sale, or something like that came out of someone's garage who their father, grandfather, great-grandfather was a World War II veteran and they didn't even know what they had, and someone picks it up for dirt cheap. But still, you can find them for good deals. Again, you're not going to have to pay, so don't think like when you go on eBay and you see all these lighters like these that are labeled at like, oh, rare original World War II Zippo, I want $1,700 for it. No. Don't even think about buying that lighter, because either that person who bought it got really overcharged for their lighter, or they just think, oh, well, you know, I'll just sit on it for 25 years and then eventually it will be worth that. And who knows, I'm sure in my lifetime this lighter will wind up going up to about $1,000. Just if I had to guess. Now, granted, who knows, because no one really knows the market. However, these are going up in value. But again, guys, this lighter honestly isn't worth more than, if I had to guess, again, the maximum that I would say this is worth, granted, because it is all original, other than like the inner stuffings of the insert, everything like that, $250, maybe $275 if I was lucky. Again, 10, 15 years from now, it'll probably be worth more like $300. But again, this isn't one that I plan to sell ever, so this is one that I really want to keep in my collection and use and stuff like that. However, with these, again, guys, not many people know that these are actually steel, especially if the wear and tear on the lighter isn't quite as drastic as this. And even the person who had this didn't even, maybe they didn't know, but I mean, I honestly think they did know, and they just were willing to sell it to me for that cheap, because I'm sure they got it at a yard sale for like $2 or something, and then they sent it in and they were like, okay, I'll just put a starting bid of $20 on this lighter. And I bid on it, and then after I lost out on the other steel case Zippo that the same seller had, I was like, okay, I increased my bid considerably on this, because I was like, I will win this lighter. And I wound up getting it. No one wound up bidding against me, but if I had to guess why no one bid against me, is because of how rusty and rough this looks. But honestly, I don't really mind that it's this rusty, though again, I'm not going to be like leaving that World War II Zippo with this on top of it, because this rust could transfer or start transferring onto that lighter, and this one is in much better condition overall than this lighter. But again, so there's basically, for you guys who don't know, 2 separate time periods that Zippo had. And again, correct me in the comments as well if I'm wrong, if there's a 3rd time period that they made steel case Zippos. Though again, guys, I am almost 100% certain that there was no 3rd time period where they were making steel case Zippos, unless it's a very sought after, like limited edition or something like that, because I think it was the Victory over Japan lighter that came out last year maybe, or the year before, 2019 or 2020 maybe. I really don't know. That came out, and it had a steel case, and it was a 1941 replica, and it was made out of steel. It says steel on the bottom and everything. I believe, actually no, I don't know if Owen has that one. He might, but I don't really know. But again, guys, unless it's one like that, the only 2 time periods that you're going to be able to find a actual steel case, solid steel case lighter is the Korean War and World War II. Because again, during the Korean War, they were worried, and they were like, okay, well, let's, you know, start conserving brass and conserving copper and stuff like we did during World War II for the war effort during the Korean War in America. And so that's why Zippo started. They were like, okay, well, let's start making steel lighters again. So they're for like 3, maybe 4 years. I think it's about 3.5, honestly, if you want my honest opinion, that you could get steel case Zippos. And again, I definitely want to own 3 or 4 of the Korean War era steels, and I already own one of these, so I want to own 1, maybe if I'm lucky, 2 in my collection of the World War II lighters. However, I don't know that I'll ever be able to find another one of these, but if I had to guess, I probably will, if I just keep, you know, my eye out. In places that you can find these guys, honestly, you're going to be hard-pressed to find a good deal on eBay for one of these. However, it's not impossible to find a good deal on eBay for one of these. However, it's becoming less and less likely to find one. Because again, like with these, just for an example, I got this on eBay months ago. And now, like when I went in there and typed in vintage Zippo, any one of these that was steel, the seller would know what they have, and they would want like $75 starting bid, and I'm just like, I can't justify paying 75 bucks for one of these. I can justify $20 to $40 for each lighter of these. However, if I'm paying 40, I would want to make sure it has its original insert, its original hinge, stuff like that. If it doesn't have all that, guys, I'm not going to pay over like 30 bucks for it. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. However, one of these, again, is a lot less common. They made a lot less of these. And the only people who could get these during World War II was actually people who were in the United States military. So almost every one of these, at least from what I understand, that you're going to find that's a steel case World War II was like, I don't know if Zippo actually gave them to the military or if they sold them only to the military. I really don't know, because the little information that I found out about George G. Blaisdell is that it just says he supplied our troops with lighters, with high quality lighters that always worked. It didn't say whether he gave them to them, if he gave them, because I know he was friends with someone who was in the Pacific who wound up later on, unfortunately, being killed in the Pacific by the Imperial Japanese, and George G. Blaisdell was very upset about that. But that was basically George G. Blaisdell's connection to getting these out to our troops in World War II. So from what I understand, all of these that are steel case were either given or sold to United States military members during the Second World War. Anyway, guys, that's going to be the first lighter talk on this video, just letting you guys know. And again, your best bet to find a good deal on either one of these, I'm not going to lie to you, is probably going to be Facebook Marketplace. However, Facebook Marketplace, there's not as much stuff on Facebook Marketplace as there is on eBay. But again, like these especially on eBay are getting really, really, really expensive. Because people find one of these and they're like, oh, I can sell that for $1,000. Like, no, it's not worth that. Now, again, in 50 years, it might be worth that, and probably will be. Though, again, I don't know. I mean, that person who's selling it doesn't know. I mean, they just, find it and think, oh, I have a holy grail lighter that I can sell for $1,000, when really, no, it's not worth that. However, the only holy grail lighter of this age that is worth that, and actually probably worth a lot more, is Dwight D. Eisenhower's Zippo, which is still on eBay right now, but his wasn't even steel. His was sterling silver. But anyway, guys, that's going to be the first ever lighter talk video. I definitely want to do some more of these in the future. I don't know how often I'll be able to do these, but I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about steel case lighters and, you know, time periods that America had steel case lighters. And if you like the video, like, share, comment, subscribe. Anything you do helps, and I'll see you in the next video.